The theme song, the Martinboroughs will take us through the presentation.
All right, let us all stand,
What a difference music makes. It was so beautiful. Now I get the rhythm of what you're singing last night. And it's beautiful. I don't know who composed the words and the music, but it's great. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm happy to be here. I had a good rest last night. I had a good breakfast this morning. I didn't get the ackee. That's okay. You get it in the can, in cans in the U.S. So we still get a kind of like the taste of what the ackee. Anyhow, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for your meditation this morning. The Word of God is so sweet. It enlightens you, and every time you read it, you get something new in it. And you might be saying the same thing, but there's always something new in Scripture when you read it. blows your mind. And what else? What else can I tell you? But we, once again, we are happy to be here. And may God bless us as we sit, as we listen, and participate together. May God bless us tremendously.
I thought she had me today, you know. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Sabbath to you. And we are happy that we can be here again for our next presentation. Before we do that, I would like to introduce to you a new asset. Those of you who are pastors are aware that, let me back up. Many of you know that the Lord inspired us to create family life evangelism. Not only do we have campaigns in Spanish Town and Mandeville, we also have in the West in Savannah Lamar, and the first one was in Kingston. There are still a lot of people we meet in the States who tell us about the Kingston campaign. The Bahamas, Nassau also had one, and out of that came a Family of God church there. In fact, there are 3 Family of God churches. There is Nassau, there is Spanish Town, and there is one in Port Limon, Costa Rica. And we were just there for their 30th anniversary celebration. It was a wonderful experience. Family life evangelism has been used all over the world and continues to be used. Over the past 3 years, the Lord has inspired us in cooperation with a number of Adventist health professionals to create family health evangelism. Here we marry every important health issue with a Bible doctrine, whether it be diabetes, hypertension, stress, weight loss, weight control, cancer, depression. All of them are handled in an evangelistic program, along with all the Bible doctrines. And our pastors have that resource. We hope that lay persons will be able to have it as well to do lay evangelism. But we have now created another version of it that every church member can use for personal evangelism. What we have done is to put it, most of the material, in short videos. And those videos are already placed on a website that could be accessed in any part of the world. They are short, just 7 minutes, because the attention span of many people today, especially in the United States, is very short. So take that 7 minutes. You want diabetes, 7 minutes about it. You want each video has 2 parts. Part 1 is the health issue, and the part 2 is the Bible doctrine part of it. In the health issue, a physician and I do the interaction. In the doctrine part, my wife and I do the interaction. And this is something that you can share. Every church member can share with your friends, because everybody has internet, right? Everybody looks at videos, and you just need to give them the website. And if they have faithfully looked through it, when they are finished, they are ready for baptism, because all the doctrines are covered. Short, right to the phone. It is also valuable for small groups. I don't know if you do small group evangelism here, but small groups is a wonderful way to do evangelism. And so you can invite your friends to your home once a week, show one of those videos, both part 1 and part 2, discuss it, and when you're finished over the 12 weeks, those people are ready for baptism. The website, you will want to write it down. So please take your pen or pencil. It is, of course, www. Nowadays you don't even have to put www. Just healthy and happy. Healthy, H-E-A-L-T-H-Y, and the word and happy, H-A-P-P-Y, .show. Oh, yes, it's in the bio. Yes, it's in the bio. That's right. Okay. Healthyandhappy.show. Not .com or .org. It's .show, right? And we would like to invite you to share it with your friends. We would like to invite some of you to make your home a small group at the church we attend in Florida. We do not meet in the church on Wednesday night for prayer meeting because only a handful of people do that. We meet in homes all over the city. And so you have dozens of people meeting in prayer meeting in little groups. Small groups are a powerful way to do inreach and outreach as well. So we'd just like to show you part 1 of one episode that you can have an appreciation for.
So, who's a sugar daddy? Usually it's a older man who is in financial or lots of work. Why?
I suppose we could call it sugar daddy because it kind of makes sweet things happen. Seems kind of nice at the beginning, but I suppose it's got a bad side too, because diabetes fathers children, like heart attacks and strokes and amputations and those kinds of things.
Okay. I understand that over 29 million people in the United States are afflicted with diabetes.
Almost 1 in 10.
So my main question is, how does this disease operate?
Type 2 diabetes comes when there's too much energy coming in, not enough energy coming out, and the body has then too much energy inside. It develops an insulin resistance.
So my big question is, how does this disease operate?
Type 2 diabetes comes when there's too much energy coming in, not enough energy coming out, and the body has then too much energy inside. It develops an insulin resistance, and that insulin resistance leads to an increase in insulin, and then all the diseases and problems in children tend to come out.
Well, that's good to know. 2 questions.
Okay.
Can type 2 diabetes be prevented? And question 2, can it ever be reversed?
It's helpful to understand where it comes from. because if you understand the cause, then it's easier to kind of focus on how to prevent it, and then maybe in many cases to actually reverse it. So we've already talked about too much energy in, not enough energy out. Energy in is food, calories. Energy out is exercise. So if I'm focusing on preventing, what I'd like to do is to keep the calories coming in fairly steady, and or decrease them a little bit, and then make sure there's plenty of exercise. So that's pretty well documented to help prevent type 2 diabetes.
Can you say a bit about sugar?
A lot of people think of diabetes as being a sugar problem. It's much more about calories. A lot don't understand that too much fat or too much sugar can cause the problem. It really is an excess of calories. So, hence, it is tied rather closely to obesity. I don't know whether you've heard the term, but in the medical literature we read of something called diabesity. So I like to say for every pound you gain, you're a step closer to diabetes. And every pound you lose, you're stepping away from diabetes.
Okay, so what are good sources of foods that will combat the rise of diabetes?
So you'd like to talk about the food part of things. Well,
the intake part.
The intake part, that's right. So if we eat foods that are high in sugar and fat, the sugar especially tends to go into the body very quickly, and this puts a strain on the system. If we have foods that are that kind of enter slowly into the bloodstream, the body has more of a chance to adjust. And those foods are foods that are high in fiber, high in water, and low in fat. Those foods are best found in the produce part of the garden.
Okay.
Sometimes we divide them up. Those that put the energy in slowest, for example, of the fruits are the northern fruits. You know, things like pears and apples and cherries and peaches and berries. Whereas southern fruit, like mangoes and yes, one of my favorite foods as well. Mangoes and kind of very ripe bananas, those types of things tend to go in faster. For vegetables, we like above ground vegetables better than below ground vegetables because they have a lot of fiber, a lot of water, and tend to let the sugars go into the body much more slowly.
I've never heard the term above ground and below ground. But
it may be a helpful concept.
Okay. Yeah. But it sounds like sodas and sweet drinks are in bad company.
That's a good point, and I'm glad that you just didn't say sodas, but it's really sodas and sweet drinks. And it's interesting that the science is telling us that that includes fruit juices as well, because, for example, a big glass of orange juice or apple juice may actually have as much sugar as a soda does. So somewhere between 8 to 12 teaspoons per can or serving. And that adds up. If people are taking a couple of sweet drinks a day, and by that's what, 700 in a year, so it ends up being a lot of extra calories. So if one's trying to prevent or reverse type 2 diabetes, minimizing or eliminating those would be a really good step.
Okay, so step one, the intake. Tell us about the output.
Output is exercise, right? Okay. So as we exercise, we tend to burn calories. When our muscles need energy, they tend to become more insulin sensitive. The energy is taken in, and it decreases the excess calories overall and helps the process improve.
So manage the intake, output by exercise. Yeah. Do we have a third strategy?
Let's see. Third strategy.
Does our weight have anything?
Well, I had mentioned the weight, and you're right. We could actually, because of that term diabesity, losing weight.
Which is a new term, I never heard of it.
Yeah, it is a bit new, but I think it speaks well.
Yes.
Bringing our weight down will help reverse the process. You don't have to lose the weight, just being in the process of weight loss. If it's on its way down, the health is beginning to happen in the body. The insulin resistance turns around, the insulin levels come down.
One final question.
Yes.
Do we ever need medication?
Medications are necessary for some patients to get their blood sugars down, but we should always focus on the cause and treat that.
Thank you so much for sharing these strategies. If we follow them, we'll keep the sugar daddy out.
We'll be on the right path.
Okay. Part 2 deals with
It's
spiritual
an excellent
diabetes.
strategy. Be sure to be
There is
part
such a thing.
of this episode.
Check it out on the video. So we would like you not only to view them for yourself, share them with your friends, you on Facebook, your social media, spread the word. Put it in your church bulletin, the website, and because all our people need. We have sick people in the church, a lot of sick people. We are not the head as we should be. Put it in your church bulletin, on the conference newsletter. Get the word out, because this is a very effective way to do evangelism. When we do the second part of it, you'll see the doctrinal part of it. And so we thought of sharing that with you as we proceed. All right. If you were here last evening, you will know that we talk about the things we do in a seminar. 1, we listen. Number 2, we respond to questions. Number 3, we look what on the screen. Number 4, you will write the missing word on your worksheet is underlined on the screen. So you just turn to your worksheet and you fill it in. And then we have activities. You should pull out your worksheet now. We are doing seminar number 3, Secrets of Satisfying Sexual Intimacy. Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, as we meet here again, we know you are here with us. We just ask that you will go near to us personally. Pardon us our sins, cover us with your blood. Speak to us by your Spirit. Help us each to grasp the truths, put them into practice, that our families can be happier here on earth in preparation for heaven. This is our prayer with our praise. In Jesus' name. Amen. Please read the statement on the screen together. That's right. And so we are looking at 8 secrets for doing so. Secret number 1 is to recognize that sexual intimacy is what? Holy. And if you take away nothing else from this seminar, and you take away this point, you're good to go. Because that is not a concept in the world, and for many Christians, it's not a concept in the church either. And so it's a bad word in the church, right? But we need to recognize that this is holy. In the beautiful Garden of Eden, it was God who created Adam and Eve, and then after making them, he married them on the 6th day. And in that marriage ceremony, God gave a command to Adam and Eve that they should become one flesh. Is the missing word. Please write it in quickly. You see a word on the line on the screen, write it in on your worksheet. And the only way a man and woman become one flesh is in the sexual union. So, let's read the statement. A holy God and a holy garden gave a holy couple the gift of sexual intimacy. Because that is found in Genesis chapter 2. I only heard one answer. That they should become one flesh is found in Genesis chapter 2. Where God married them and said, man and woman, leave husband and wife and become one flesh. It's not in Genesis 3. So it's not after sin. As we said last night, our focus is in 1 and 2. Before sin, God's idea. And so there's a holy God, it's a holy world, it's a holy couple, and God is giving them this command. So the command has to be holy. The relationship has to be holy. When Jesus was here on earth, he endorsed the sacredness of the union. Matthew 19:6, he said, so then they are no longer two but he's using the same one flesh term. So he is endorsing it. So, let's read together. Made by our Holy Father, and blessed by our loving Savior, with him the marriage union, sexual is not common, it is sacred. It is not filthy, it is holy. It is not dirty, it is clean. It is not only human, it is also divine. Please fill in the two missing words. Let's read that statement again because it is the basis of everything that follows. Together. Made by our Holy Father and blessed by our loving Savior, within marriage, the sexual union is not common, it is sacred. It is not filthy, it is holy. It is not dirty, it is clean. It is not only human, it is also divine. And that's why we could talk about it in church. On Sabbath. In the morning. Not in the afternoon. In the divine service. That's right. And if we understand that, it will automatically answer a number of other questions that we struggle with all along the way. Like the famous one, should we it answers that. Right? When the relationship is holy and the day is holy, God is holy. Right? I remember when we were doing the Kingston campaign, and that's enough, you don't need anything more. We were doing this campaign in Kingston, we were just developing family life lunches at the time, so it was new and so we went for Sabbath lunch. The question always came over the question box, and I told them, gave them the answer. And so we went to this Sabbath lunch, and nice lunch. She said, but I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you that you can have sex on Sabbath. I said, why? She said, because Isaiah tells us not finding thine own pleasure, right? And this is our pleasure. So I told her, well, sis, you see this nice food that we have here? Are you enjoying it? Is it your pleasure? something to He said, well, I have another reason. I said, what is it? He said, because it's work. Work. W-O-R-K. It's work. Just now you said it was pleasure, and now you're saying it's work. So how is it work? He said, because you sweat a lot. After that, you don't give any answer. You just say, these are the principles you make up your mind. Because some people, no matter what you tell them, they can't answer them. Everybody has to decide after themselves. Okay, so the first concept is that it is sacred.
Okay, the second, it says, reject Satan's counterfeits. What are those counterfeits? But do you realize that for every good thing that God has made, the devil has a counterfeit? And so what are we to do with those counterfeits? Now let's list some of those counterfeits that we have operating in our world right now. Number one, no premarital intimacy. Is that common? Here in Jamaica? Of course it's there. No premarital intimacy. Next one. Why? Because my body is sacred. Flee sexual immorality. Because every sin that a man does is outside his body. But he who commits sexual immorality sins against his own body. So flee it. And that's especially for young people. No, not young people. We don't like what we have, and so we go. Okay, next one. No extramarital affairs. Because we need to say like Joseph said to Mrs. Potiphar, she was having she wanted an extramarital relationship with Jacob. You know the story. Say what Joseph said. But you know what I mean. Say what Joseph said to Mrs. Potiphar. And you know what he said. How can I do this great wickedness? He called it great. It's a great wickedness and sin against the God that I love and serve. Okay, what's the next one? No cohabitation. What does that mean? Living together without being married. And what we need to remember, that no living together without being married. Doesn't make sense. Next one. God's seventh commandment says, you shall not commit adultery. Exodus 20:14. Here's another one of Satan's counterfeits. No same-sex relationship. And that is commonplace in our world today. Now we're going to be kind of like a hush-hush thing, but now it's all over. It's all over. But Scripture is clear. Even their women exchange natural relationships for unnatural ones, and that's found in Romans chapter 1. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their perversion. Romans 1:26 and 27. But we need to look at this carefully. It says attention. The sin is not having a homosexual nature or desire. Because we all have sinful natures. Do you agree?
Yes.
All right. We all have sinful desires of one type or another. But what is the sin? And let's read this together, please. The sin is not having a sinful nature or desire. The sin is engaging in the sinful behavior. And that's the disgusting part.
This point is very important because there's a great debate how these people get so, if they were born so, or if they chose it. That's beside the point. We don't have to investigate how they got that way. The fact is that there are people that are that way, right? And we think that that's the worst sin in the world. It's not the worst sin in the world. It's not any worse than the adulterer who is having sex with another man's wife. And sin is sin. And we all have some sinful desires, whether one or another. The fact is that it is not having a sinful nature, because we all have sinful natures, whatever. It is engaging in the behavior that is the sin. And that is important to differentiate.
Okay, however, while we reject homosexuality or the homosexual behavior, let's read the rest of the phrase. We should love the homosexual person just as Jesus loves me and you. Okay, another one of Satan's concretes. What's that one? No incest, no child sexual abuse. And this one gets me, brings me to the core. Here is God's stern warning. He says, whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a millstone were around his neck and he were drowned into the depth of the sea. That is how much it grieves God. It's a child. Next one. Next come to feet. No one. Prostitution. 1 Corinthians 6:15 says, shall I take the members of Christ and make them into members of harlot? What's the next come to feet? Sexual abuse by spouse. That picture looks gruesome. No force by the man, no weapon by the woman. Hear what Jesus says. You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, but it must not be so among you. But whoever desires to be great among you, let him be your servant. Could I inject something here? Sometimes women need a little help in the house. If you treat a woman lovingly and kind, gentlemen, she's going to respond to you positively. And if she is tired, she will tell you something like this. I am tired now, but why not, I'll give you a rain check. Are you with me? If it comes in, you have to change it. Okay. Let's continue. No pornography. And that's a dangerous one too in our among male and the female, young people. No pornography. What does Jesus say? Whatsoever things are, 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 if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, those are the things within the heart. Next, these are all Satan's counterfeits. So what are we supposed to do with them? Let's reject them. And God will help you to do just that.
Amen. Secret number 3 is to do what?
Sir,
Yes.
are there any place for question in this?
Yes. Raise your questions as we go along.
Yes.
'Cause
So let's go back to the form.
yes.
Reject the counterfeit. In Matthew chapter 19, there is one reason to buy Jesus. There's one reason to buy Jesus. There is one reason to buy Jesus where a person can marry, divorce, and remarry. Is that correct? What reason? No. Who? Fornication. Fornication. in Romans, it says, if a woman marries, put away her husband, and the husband is still alive, and she remarries, she shall be called an adulteress. Is that true? True? But we have in our churches a lot of second and third and fourth marriages, when the other party is still alive. Please explain how that ties in with chapter 2 of Genesis. Until death was part.
Thank you. That's an excellent question, but it is not a question we can deal with in this seminar, because that's a divorce and remarriage issue. And that's a whole big thing that I said. We are dealing here with how to enrich your sexual life as husband and wife. And there are a number of other things we can talk about, right? But they belong somewhere else. And we cannot, as wonderful as it is and important, it belongs to the divorce and remarriage seminar, because that's a very complicated thing. That is happening not only here. You go to the United States and it pains your heart to see what's going on. Okay, let's move on. The third secret for enjoying your sexual relationship is to do what? Get victory over temptation. Why? Because infidelity can do what? You can learn all there is how to have a happy sex relationship, but if you're messing around outside, your conscience is going to bother you, and you will not be able to enjoy sex with your wife or with your husband. So, we have to learn to overcome, get victory over the temptation. And remember, temptation is not a sin. It's the engaging in the behavior, right? That is a sin, because we are tempted all along the way. So how do we gain victory? Key number one is to guard your thoughts. Missing word is thoughts. Guard your thoughts. We said this just now, but let's read it again together. Temptation is not sin. Dwelling on it and yielding to it is the sin. So don't dwell on it. You can't prevent the birds from hanging over your head, but don't let them nest there. And this means that you must be careful what you watch on television, what you read, what you do on the internet, because it all pops up there, right? But you have a decision to make whether you stay and linger on it or if you shut it off, right? And the billboards are there. You have a decision whether you keep staring at it or if you shut it down. Be careful what you think, because the Bible says, as he thinks, so is he. Key number two for resisting is always be what? Vigilant. Always be vigilant. 1 Peter 5:8 says, be sober and be vigilant. Why? That's right. So you have to be a watchman. And for those of you who are leaders, whether you be pastors, elders, or counselors, while ministering to someone of the opposite sex, do not visit or counsel while you are alone, because that is dangerous. Avoid compromising situations. It may be innocent, right? But it doesn't look right, and could become scandalous. So avoid compromising situations. Limit the help that you give. When I was conference president, we had a pastor who was just an awesome man. We lost him because of trying to help this group, two girls that were in need. Yes, you have to, but you have to put a limit on how you're going to help them, right? Because, and it became his downfall. Very sad. If hugging, and some folk like to do the hugging thing at the door, then make a what? Triangle. You know how the triangle works, right? Yeah, hugging. Yes, no, you can't see it. The triangle has a base, right? It's in there. So, yes, that's good. Yes, just for your wife, right? Yes. Enjoy the sermon. Okay. Key number 3 to overcome, not fall into the pitfalls, is to use the victory formula. And what's the victory formula? James 5:7 tells us that submit yourselves to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will. So the victory formula is human will plus divine power equals spiritual victory. And that's any kind of victory. In any area of life, and you want victory, you got to make up your mind. God can make up your mind for you. And then you have to ask his power. And when the two of them combine, you have victory. Put it differently, let's read that. I choose, plus I pray, equal I can. Two missing words. I choose, and then I pray. So it's my willpower plus God's power together, we can gain victory. No matter what the issue is, sexuality, alcohol, smoking, whatever it may be. Learn to say no and mean it. My wife likes to sit down and say no, because that means maybe. Say no and mean it. Then claim God's power. The fourth key is to practice what? Redirection. What do we mean by that? Redirection, read together. Redirection is the channeling of energy in a different direction, because energy redirected towards positive activities can bring me physical and emotional satisfaction, right? So I'm away from my spouse and I'm tempted to have sex with somebody else. Redirection says, take that energy and do something else with it and move it in a different direction. It's not just to say no to evil, we must say yes to something else that is positive. Romans 12:21 tells us the redirections of biblical principle. It says, do not be overcome with evil, but you must overcome evil with good. So do something else. Redirectional activities, physical exercise, go in the gym, go run, go take a walk, go have a cold shower, right? Go work in the garden, go do a community project like Dorcas did. Key number 5 is to maintain what? High self-worth. High self-worth. Why is this important? What is the relationship between self-worth and sexuality? Read together. If your self-esteem is low, it's easy to be pernicious. On the other hand, promiscuous, sorry. On the other hand, if your self-worth is high, you will not need illicit sex to feel valued. And we have to teach our young people this. Most of the crazy behavior is because they don't value themselves. And they are trying to do things to impress other people because their self-worth is low. And that's a responsibility that parents have in order to lift the self-worth of your children so that they will feel good about themselves. And not, if a girl has her father who hugs her and affirms her, she is not going to need some crazy guy to come and tell her how beautiful she is, because her dad has been telling her that all the time. So, high self-worth. Since you are precious in my sight, you have been honorable, and I have loved you. You are so valuable that if you were the only one, Christ would still have died just for you. Amen? Okay, we are at secret number 4.
Secret number 4 says practice mutual. I think we had something like it last night. Mutual submission. Ephesians 5:21. Okay. Attention. Marital sexual union is a, what's the word? Mutual. And what's the next word? Obligation. And God says so. Right. 1 Corinthians 7, verses 3 to 5. It says, the wife does not have over her own body. I can't keep myself away from my husband, that's what it means. But the husband does. And likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. So mutually, it's a mutual submission. So then, do not deprive one another except with consent for a period of time, that you may give yourselves to fasting and to prayer. But the Apostle Paul continues, and come together again, so that Satan does not tempt you to engage in any one of those counterfeits. So that Satan does not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. So, come together. Do what you have to do. Yes.
Question. With that being said, for persons who migrate, like overseas for 5 minutes. And it doesn't say for migration, only for prayer and fasting.
Something else to add.
What the text says prayer and fasting and for migration.
After migration, yes, put that in, after migration. Then you come together again, right? Don't let the migration be too long. That's why. You either have to give up one or something. That's a strong one. That's a difficult one. But okay.
That's really redirection.
Okay, so we're saying that that is strong language, right? So we are not to deprive each other. That's the word. And remember, my body is not my own. First, it belongs to God. Second, it belongs to my spouse. So we don't deprive, we can't deprive each other. Either way. No love, no share. So, reading together, so each spouse should take time to maintain sexual intimacy. Remember, wives, if you're tired, bring check. Oh, yeah. Right. Let's go.
Don't run in.
Oh, you mean chase him?
Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. No. Because he feels rejected. Yes, that's good. All right, we're ready. So each spouse should take time. Let's read together, please. So each spouse should take time to maintain sexual intimacy. It's part of marriage. And if you don't want that kind of intimacy, don't get married.
Amen.
It's just as plain as that. All right. Let's go. Some of the changes that happen in life, of course. Early years of marriage, what? Sexual satisfaction. We can't get enough of it, right? And the wife, as years go by, wife's menopause, what happens? Men need to understand that. But then at the same time, what is happening to the man? Let's go, we have to go. Husbands midnight. Less free, less ability.
a program on BBC regarding the doll. And this particular gentleman actually had a relationship with this doll to the point that if he were to go out and have a date with a human being, he considered it cheating on the doll. And the doll lost some of its veracity, and he had to bring the doll in for servicing. Yeah? And if you see how it was almost as if, when back in the day when you go to the airport and somebody going off and I'm gonna miss you, oh bye baby. I mean, it was that type of a relationship that he was having with the doll. So I'm saying that even though the doll is not human, based on the emotions that are going to be placed into the relationship with this doll, then it's almost as if even though it's not human, you are taking away the emotions that you should have been invested in your other half as well. So I don't know.
That's a new
that's a new concept.
Yeah, we put a few versions of Satan
Okay. We have to ask ourselves if that is a spiritual experience. If it lines up, because remember what sexuality is supposed to, what its purpose, right? Its purpose is that the man and the woman married are enjoying becoming one flesh, enjoying each other, and the sexual relationship is supposed to be that bond. Now, if you're going to have a thing instead of the human, then it becomes an aberration, right? It is a substitute, right? That, it's not adultery, it's not you say what it is not, we have to ask, but does it measure up to God's purpose for a sexual relationship? And you have that, but you have to figure that out for yourself. Is this something that I can ask God's blessing upon? Right?
Is it divine?
Is it divine?
Right. If the answer to that question is yes, continue. Is it divine?
Yes. Yes. Is it divine? Is it a spiritual? Yes, please.
Yes. You keep on referring to that oneness. I need to be corrected. You keep on referring to that oneness as having to be dealing with sexual intimacy. But I have always had an understanding that oneness refers to two people who are heading in the same direction. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You speak about redirection recently. Now, my understanding also is that when the Bible speaks about not to be unequally yoked, it's two people who are headed in the different direction. Let me
make it short.
Let me see how I understand it. Here is a farming situation where 2 horses is used to pull a wagon. Now one is 700 pounds and one is 100 pounds. So because one is so stronger than the other, one pull in one direction and one pull in the other, and they pull apart. So they're not yoked together, they're not operating as a team. So that is my understanding of oneness, basically. But it also, I understand the sex part of it. But in general, I have always had the opinion, I need to be corrected, I have always had that understanding where a man and a woman becomes one because they're headed in the same direction. They believe the same thing, they have the same...
We get your point.
Right.
Time is against us, so we get your point. Yes, in general that is true. And you're not to be unequally yoked because you're to be moving in the same direction. In this issue, we are not dealing with being one, we are dealing with being one flesh. Right? We are dealing with sexuality. And that is involved with the term one flesh. But yes, you don't want to have one flesh with two people that are moving in this you're an unbeliever and that kind of thing. So the bigger picture is yes, you need to be one, moving in the same direction, serving the same God, the same commitment. But here we are taking it to the level of intimacy in which we are dealing with the one flesh experience. Okay, we must move because remember we have 2 seminars to do this morning.
Okay, then we continue. Man's advance is rejected, marital conflict. So we have to make up our minds, our dear ladies, respond positively to your husband. Sinful man's solution. If he's a sinful man, if he's not an Adventist or a Christian, what happens? He goes outside and he gets fulfillment. But is that an option for persons in the family of God? Of course not. So what can we do? Other challenges, differences in male-female biology. Yeah. Difference in temperaments, physical, mental, or emotional overload. Sometimes that plagues men, plagues women. Overload, burden with work, plus study, plus other things. So all of those are challenges that could keep us apart from having the union. You have health problems, and that's what somebody had mentioned that. Significant difference in age. Marry somebody. Anyhow, so what's the solution? Some things to think about. So what's the solution? The solution, Romans 12:10, and what does that say? We give preference to one another. In other words, put the other person.
Somebody find Romans 12:10, let's get a hold of the text and read it in a modern version.
Romans 12:10.
Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love, in honoring, preferring one another.
Okay.
Or in honor giving,
Preference.
That's the National Standard Version. Says, be devoted to each other with mutual affection. Excel at showing respect for each other.
Okay. It means that, you know what that means? Mutual.
give preference to each other.
Okay, so if each tries to please the other, what happens? We will find a point of mutual agreement. We'll find some way of helping each other to move along. That's one of the areas of oneness. That will be a win-win solution. Okay, so that's win-win. In lowliness of mind, let each esteem others or your spouse better than yourself. Let each of you look not only for each of you look not only for his own interest, but also for the interest of others. And when you do that, you will quarrel and fight over anything. Because you will be thinking, how can I please him? And he will be, how can I please you? You know? And it happens. And sometimes it happens unconsciously. It happens to us. Not in only sexual activity, but other things. You just want to please your spouse. Number 5, secret number 5. Do adequate preparation.
All right? Do adequate preparation. So what was secret number 4 that we just finished? Mutual submission. And that means that it's the extension of Ephesians 5:21 that we studied last night, right? That each one is submitting to the other, each one is trying to please the other. You have all these problems, yes, but supremely we're trying to please each other. Number 5 is that we are to do adequate preparation. Blow upon my garden, that the spices may flow out. I have gathered my myrrh and my spice. Song of Solomon 4:16-5:1. Because sexual experience is your garden. Missing word is your garden. So, since it's a garden has to be cared for. Right? It must be watered, it must be manure, it must be plowed, the weeds must come out, right? It needs attention. It needs attention. So does your marriage, and especially so does is your sex life. So, let's read together. Care should be taken to prepare the spices of romance, tidiness of, fragrance of, attractiveness of, is the responsibility of. So, man, you've been fixing the car, you know, all the grease around it. You just come in, wash your hands, and want to jump into bed with the lady. Don't smell good, right? Lady, you are in cleaning fish. And you stand rank, right? And the fish smell is a saying, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. And then you have to also prepare your spouse. Why? Because men and women are different. Men and women are like 2 types of stoves. Right? You have electric stove and you have gas stove. That's right. One is like a gas stove, one is like an electric stove. And this is now time for your group activity. You are going to decide which. I don't know what happened to my folder, but I need another package. I thought I had it moved it and gave it to my bag last night, and then okay. So, you are going to be in groups of 4. It's a group activity. And you will answer 3 questions. Question number 1. Who is more like the gas stove, the man or the woman, and why? Who is more like the electric stove, the man or the woman, and why? C. What is the responsibility of the husband in the view of all of that? And the best way, we're going to do it differently to last night. When we have a group activity, we're going to ask this group, these, to turn your chairs around and face there. So that, and then this group, turn your chairs around to face the next one. That group, turn your chairs around to face the other. So it's easier for you to have your groups of 4, not more than 6. And you have Okay. Okay, thank you, Protocol. Please turn back your chairs. You take the answers, turn back your chairs. Let's close off, let's close off. Please turn back your chairs. And you'll take your answers. Okay, so what is the consensus? Who is like the gas stove? Why? Easily turned on, easily turned off. Right? On the other hand, who is like the electric stove? The women, and that is because they are slowly turned on and slowly turned off. In Haiti, they don't have electric stoves, much of them. They say it's like coal pot, right? You got the fan. So, what is the responsibility of the husband? To blow on the Yes. Okay. So the husband's responsibility is to be patient and prepare his wife for the relationship. Number 6, satisfy my spouse. Bible says, let her breasts satisfy you at all times and always be enraptured with her love. That's romantic language, right? Often one is satisfied and the other is, one is waiting and the other is gone off, right? You have to realize that she is like an electric stove, not easily turned off when the relationship is over, right? therefore, we have to be patient with each other. Satisfaction enhances fidelity is the missing word. Proverbs 27:7 says, a satisfied soul loads the honeycomb, but to a hungry soul every bitter thing is sweet. So if you're satisfied at home, you don't go to the neighbor's garbage can to look for leftover food. Right? Satisfy each other at home. How can I know if my spouse is satisfied or not? How would you know if your spouse is satisfied? Ask. Just like at the dinner table. And do you want any more rice? No, I'm satisfied. Yes, I like some more. Right? Ask. We should be free to discuss our sex life with each other just as we discuss all the other areas of our life. Right? And not have the taboo. Sometimes there are serious problems and it means that we should get help. If it's a physical problem, get help from a physician is the missing word. And if it is a psychological problem, because there are people who have psychological problems that interfere with their sex life, and they need to get help from a Christian therapist. It's okay to get help. We have no problem going to the doctor when we are sick, but when we are mentally or emotionally sick, we have a problem going to a therapist. And that's not right. Sickness is sickness. And Jesus said if you're sick, go to a physician. Number 7.
Number 7, practice the presence of God. Now, how can you do that in a sexual relationship? Let's realize that it was God who blessed the sexual union of both Adam and Eve then, and He will bless your relationship now. And the same God stands ready to bless. The missing word is bless your marital sexual union now. Okay. Do you realize that sexual relationship is multi-dimensional? And here are the dimensions. What's number 1? Physical. When we all engage in it, we know that. It's physical, that's the union bonding of two bodies. What is it again? It's emotional. If there is hurt or so on, it's difficult, right? So these are the feelings of elation and joy when all is well and you engage in sexual relation, you feel good. If your emotions not, if you feel badly, well, of course it wouldn't happen. What's it again? It's mental. Both of you thinking and you can talk about it. And finally, it is spiritual. This is the consciousness of the presence of God who sanctifies the union. Let's read that together, please. In spiritual, it is the consciousness of the presence of God which sanctifies the union. So it's not common. If we practice the presence of God, what happens? Then in the very act, we can lift our hearts to heaven and sing or say or think. What you can be saying? Thank you, Lord, for this wonderful experience that we are sharing together. It can happen. It can happen. And you also get an appreciation of the God you serve, to think and to give us such right. And that's what you can experience. And you say, God, God, you are good. God, you are. All right, let's go. And number 8.
All right. Unfortunately, we have to close the seminar now because we started late and we have run over time. So the point with number 8 is that the Apostle Paul used the sexual relationship as a parable of the spiritual relationship with Ephesians 5:31 and 32. He says, "For this reason a man shall leave father and mother and be joined with his wife, and the two shall be the same one flesh." And then he goes on to say, "This is a great mystery, but," and speaking concerning Christ and the church. So what the Apostle Paul is saying is that just as how husband and wife are joined together, they illustrate, and that Dr. Fletcher mentioned this morning, right? They illustrate the union that should exist between Jesus and me. And that sanctifies it. Right? It's a parable. Just as how we are in love with each other, we want to be in love with Jesus. We talk together, we talk with God. We think of each other, we think of God. It is a parable of the relationship that we should have with each other.
I have a question. The Word of God says we should not withhold ourselves from one another. What about the Sabbath in relationship?
So you came in late. We answered that earlier.
Okay, I
Okay.
wasn't here.
Yes. Ask somebody to give the answer. Okay. We must close up here because our next seminar we want adequate time for it. And but